and a desperation to get seen and have a chance to be more powerful, because only God could forgive sin. Jesus went on to tell people he has authority on earth to forgive sins.
You're amused.
Oh, merely skeptical. How would you go about it?
I've used hypnotism more than once in healing. Not for profit. I'm not a professional. But I do think I could help you. If you'd care to...
I can't think of a pleasanter experience.
Now you will do exactly as I tell you.
Today, people will use self-hypnosis for pain management before surgeries and other procedures rather than anaesthetic. It has no risk to health as there are no drugs involved. And as there aren't any side effects, people can go home quicker after surgery. Using self-hypnosis also turns on the body's healing response and reduces inflammation, so people can recover faster. So many things which used to be explained by spirits, the occult, witchcraft or gods, where rituals were used to induce a trance to be receptive to these things, are examples of hypnosis before the term hypnosis existed, and accessing our own innate skills and abilities. There are examples of rituals which sound a lot like rituals hypnotists may use that are described in ancient texts. For example, the Egyptian demotic magical papyrus, half of which is in the British Museum, from around 200 AD, contains rituals likely to be similar to what was practiced in Egypt for centuries beforehand, perhaps even longer, about guiding someone through the process of looking at a lamp, and then having them close their eyes, and then the guide recites to that person a specific incantation 7 times, followed by having the person open their eyes and saying to them, "Do you see the light?" The person is then expected to respond that they see the light. If they don't respond to say that they see the light, the guide then has them close their eyes again, and depending on the ritual, will repeat the incantation, or will use the next set of incantations. It doesn't specify whether the lamp is lit. If it isn't, then it could be that they're expected, on opening their eyes, to see the light or the flame, which would be hallucinated. This would fit with how many of the rituals proceed from here, where they involve gods communicating through the person, or some kind of sensory shift or experience which would be enhanced by the person having demonstrated hallucination skills as a sign they are in a suitable trance. Hypnosis appears in many spiritual traditions, from shamanism to Christianity and Buddhism. There are practices which resemble hypnosis described in Vedic texts dating back to around 1500 BC. Prior to this, they would likely have been conveyed orally. Mantras are chanted with specific rhythms and styles, creating sacred sounds which guide the person into a trance where they can pass through lower states of consciousness towards enlightenment. Within the Bible, many events read like those writing it understood hypnosis. From Genesis 2:21, where God puts Adam into a deep sleep to remove one of his ribs before fixing up the wound with flesh, through to examples of Jesus healing people in the New Testament, like in Luke 5:20-26, where he heals a paralyzed man in a very direct way, where there is a huge amount of expectation and belief in his healing abilities, and a desperation to get seen and have a chance to be healed. When the paralyzed man was lowered in front of Jesus, he was very direct. He got attention, which he would have commanded just by being Jesus, in the same way that people often feel their heart racing and a nervous anticipation when in the presence of highly admired people that you would love to meet. Following receiving this attention, Jesus was direct with his suggestion that the man's sins were forgiven. This, in the context of the time, was more powerful because only God could forgive sins, and they would have known that. So other healers would try to channel God to do the healing, but doing this is less impactful than being commanding yourself. This is like a stage hypnotist triggering the orientation response, which is the response that happens whenever something new appears in your environment, and then saying sleep. It has more impact because it is direct at a time you want a clear response, and this clear response gets responded to more effectively than a vague or uncertain suggestion, because at this moment in time you are also in a heightened state of awareness. So any doubt or uncertainty on the part of the hypnotist or healer gets picked up on and responded to just as much as the intended suggestion or idea. Jesus went on to tell people he has authority on earth to forgive sins. He then commands the man to get up, take his mat, and go home. This is all done with authority and confidence, and a certainty that what he is saying is inevitable, and suggestions are built onto each other in the same way that a hypnotist may suggest something to let the client know change has happened non-consciously, which primes or seeds, as Milton Erickson used to describe it, for the person to respond more powerfully to a related activating suggestion when it's given. Then giving some time for that suggestion to sink in before giving a direct suggestion for change that is linked to the more indirect or priming suggestion that was used beforehand. During the last couple of thousand years, hypnosis has cropped up around the world. At times, people have found it scary and attacked those who seem to have special powers. In other times, those who can connect with their inner wisdom or who seem effective at healing others have been put on a pedestal and treated as being important within society. And sometimes people have had both. They have been revered by some and attacked by others. Prior to the last couple of hundred years, there have been people classed as witches, shaman, witch doctors, healers, mediums and psychics. There have been sleep temples, magic, group rituals and chanting, storytelling, occult practices, exorcisms and tribal dancing. The techniques largely stayed the same, but this all shifted shape with the advent of the scientific era. Although I've shared about how hypnotic practices are written in various religious texts, showing that how to heal and how to access greater levels of human potential have been known and understood for thousands of years, this isn't about questioning validity of religions and beliefs people hold, but about how, through most of human history, what would now be classed as hypnotic techniques and trance induction, and even hypnotherapeutic techniques, have been used to heal people and help people access more of their potential. These same processes have been used, discovered and rediscovered time and time again, with different surface packaging but the same underlying structure, because hypnosis and trance are an essential part of life. In this episode, we'll explore the world of mesmerism, from its development within the scientific era through to approaches being used by healers around the time mesmerism first appeared, to the creation, spread and downfall of mesmerism.
Hey, you made it to the end. Now do me a favor, hang around for the credits.